For now, taking you straight across to the BRICS Summit, the Chinese President Xi Jinping is speaking. Let's take a listen in.
Высказать относительно путей этого высококачественного партнерства БРИКС.
President Ramaphosa, President Bolsonaro, President Putin, and Prime Minister Modi to deliver opening remarks in turn. After that, we will hear presentations about the meeting of high security representatives and other cooperation mechanisms, and then we will exchange views on major international and regional issues and areas of BRICS cooperation. I will close by a brief statement. Now I give the floor to President Ramaphosa for your opening remarks.
We're listening in to the remarks being made by the BRICS leaders. The BRICS Summit 2022 being hosted by China in its capacity as the chair of the grouping for the current year. On the agenda is reviewing the current global issues. The BRICS Summit also including a high-level dialogue on global development with the guest countries. The Indian Ministry of External Affairs has already stated how BRICS has become a platform for discussing and deliberating on issues of common concern, and discussions are also likely on the multilateral system, combating the pandemic and economic recovery. Those are going to be two of the key issues up for discussion. The leaders of Brazil, Russia, India, China and South Africa virtually addressing the BRICS Forum. This gathering of emerging world economies being hosted by China, a major focus remains on the Russia-Ukraine war. President Vladimir Putin saying Russia's focus will shift from Europe and the West to Asia and Africa as Russia's oil exports to China and India increase. That's going to be just one of the key issues up for discussion. The post-pandemic economic recovery and fighting the resultant challenges being the key focus of this platform. The Chinese President Xi Jinping earlier warned against expanding military ties, quote-unquote. The Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi speaking of the importance of the BRICS nations and the platform in a post-COVID-19 world.
I still remember when we had the first BRICS outreach dialogue in Durban, when we met with our African brothers and composed a new chapter of South-South cooperation in the new era. Now I give the floor to President Bolsonaro.
Dear colleagues, President and Prime Minister, President Xi Jinping of China, President Cyril Ramaphosa, President Vladimir Putin, Prime Minister Narendra Modi, ladies and gentlemen. It is an honor for me to take part for the fourth time in this BRICS Summit. I wish to thank the Chinese presidency for organizing this meeting and also greet the Chinese President Xi Jinping and the Chinese people who have extended such a warm welcome to me during my visit to China in 2019. On that occasion, we were able to make progress in the strategic partnership between China and Brazil with concrete benefits for our peoples, as shown in our cooperation during COVID-19. Greetings likewise to my other colleagues, Cyril Ramaphosa of South Africa, Vladimir Putin of Russia, who extended to me a very warm welcome during my visit to Russia in February, and Prime Minister Narendra Modi of India, all of which are countries with which Brazil has maintained strategic relations in several different areas, ranging from politics to trade, from technology and innovation to public health care. Our relations have helped improve the prosperity of our economies and foster the overall well-being of our peoples. We must join efforts towards a reform of the international organizations, such as the World Bank, the IMF, and the United Nations system, especially its Security Council. The increasing weight and relevance of emerging and developing economies should have its due and deserved representation in those forums. For Brazil, BRICS is a cooperation model that is based on a win-win formula for all stakeholders and for the international community as a whole. For this reason, we must choose priorities with a sense of responsibility and transparency. Brazil, rather BRICS, is not only a factor for stability and prosperity in the international scene, but it is also in a position to contribute to job creation and income generation, as well as to the overall well-being of our populations. Presidents, Mr. Prime Minister, BRICS came into being amidst one of the most serious financial crises in history. In that context, the strength of emerging economies proved key for the recovery of the international economy at the time. Under my administration, I have been directing the Brazilian foreign policy towards the social and economic development of Brazil and of our partners. We must keep on paying attention to ensure that diplomatic efforts will always remain focused on the broader objective of fostering prosperity and peace. I do hope that we will soon be able to meet again in person to address these and so many other topics of relevance for our bilateral and multilateral agendas. In the meantime, I further reiterate Brazil's willingness to ensure that even in a virtual format, we'll be able to engage in a productive, fruitful dialogue and ensure that the 14th summit of BRICS be fully successful. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you, President Bolsonaro. Brazil has been actively committed to promoting BRICS practical cooperation if BRICS is like a tree, and if it is to prosper, it must strike deep roots. And that's why throughout this year and our chairship, we have focused on making solid progress. We're prepared to work with our partners to achieve new results in BRICS cooperation. Now, I give the floor to President Putin for your opening remarks.
Спасибо, уважаемый председатель Си Цзиньпинь, уважаемый президент Рамафоза, уважаемый президент Болсонаро и уважаемый премьер-министр Моди, дамы и господа. Прежде всего хотел бы присоединиться к уже выступившим коллегам и поблагодарить председателя КНР Си Цзиньпина и всех наших китайских друзей за активную работу в этом году по продвижению стратегического партнерства в рамках БРИКС. Страны нашего объединения углубляют взаимодействие по всему спектру вопросов глобальной и региональной повестки дня. И с каждым годом авторитет БРИКС и его влияние на мировой арене неуклонно повышаются. Это объективный процесс, поскольку государства пятерки...
The Russian President Vladimir Putin speaking during the BRICS Summit 2022. On the agenda are multiple key issues: the post-COVID-19 economic recovery and the Russia-Ukraine war dominating those discussions as part of the BRICS platform, as the members are pushing for global clout amid the Ukraine war.
And improving our people's living standards. We believe that the theme of today's summit is highly relevant: foster high-quality BRICS partnership, ushering a new era of global development. The complexity and transnational nature of challenges and threats that the international community has been faced with oblige us to seek joint answers with an active participation of our allies. We reiterate that only in concert such goals should be resolved and tackled as the conflict resolution, fighting terrorism and organized crime, including the criminal use of new technology, countering climate change and the spread of dangerous infections. Definitely only on the basis of frank and win-win cooperation we can find solutions to the crisis situation that is observed now in the global economy because of and self-interested action by some separate states that have been using the financial mechanisms, shirking all their own mistakes and putting their own mistakes on other states. I'm convinced that now as never before, BRICS leadership is relevant in order to design a truly positive, unifying force to form a multipolar system of intergovernmental relations based on the universal rules of international law and the key principles of the UN Charter. With this, we can count on the support of many states of Asia, Africa, and Latin America that strive to pursue an independent policy. I'm sure that, as a custom, this summit will be meaningful and fruitful, and we will be able to have a frank and substantive exchange on the most relevant and pressing regional and global problems and the aspects of strategic partnership, including in the extended BRICS Plus format. I underline and emphasize that Russia is ready to keep pursuing a closest possible versatile interaction with all the BRICS partners and enhance its role in the international affairs. Thank you.
Thank you, President Putin. Russia has played a key role in the as long as we think and act in the same direction, then we'll be better positioned to deal with all kinds of risks and challenges and to make the world a more stable place.
WION now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the news on the move.